Let me tell you something strange. There was a fella whose woman died, and he couldn't fix his mind on whether or not he wanted to take another. Finally, he took off one of his boots that had a hole in the sole and said to his daughter, his only child, "Take this boot up to the loft to the large nail, hang it on the nail, then bring some water and pour the water into the boot. If it doesn't leak, I'll find myself another woman. But if it does, I'll stay as I am." The daughter did as she was told. The water made the leather swell, so that the hole closed up, and the boot was filled to the brim. The father looked for himself to see if this was true. Then he said, "Well then, now I've got to take me a mate." So he washed his face and combed his hair and stepped out and found himself a widow. And he courted her, and in the end it was settled, and she moved into the house, bringing with her a daughter from her first husband. When she saw that her stepdaughter was beautiful and clever, and that everyone was fond of her, and that her own daughter was plain and dull by comparison, she scolded the stepdaughter whenever she could, and could think of nothing but how she might torment her. One day, in the deep of winter, when snow was high on the land, the stepmother made her a dress of paper, and when it was done, she called her stepdaughter to her and said, "I've a hankering to eat strawberries, so put on this dress, go into the forest, bring me a basket of strawberries, and don't come back until the basket is full." The maiden wept bitter tears and said, "Where will I find strawberries in winter? Even if they were there, they'd be covered by the snow. How am I supposed to find them? It's so cold outside that my breath will freeze. How can I go out in a paper dress? The wind will blow right through it, and the thorns will tear it off my body." "Not one more word," the stepmother replied. "Get out there and look for the strawberries." In her heart of malice, she thought that the maiden would freeze outside and never return. That's why she had made the thin paper dress. Since the stepdaughter was obedient, she put on the paper dress and went out into the forest. There was nothing but snow, not even a blade of green grass. So she kept going, and when she reached the middle of the forest, she saw a small cottage, and 3 little men were looking out of the window. She wished them a good day, all 3, and since she greeted them so politely, they asked her what she was looking for in the forest, dressed in such a thin paper dress when it was winter time. "Oh," she answered, "I'm supposed to look for strawberries, and I can't return home until I've picked a basketful." The 3 little men whispered to each other and then said, "Go round the back and clear the snow away. The strawberries have been protected there and have grown. You'll find enough to fill your basket." The maiden thanked them and did as she was told. While she cleared away the snow and gathered the strawberries, the 3 little men began talking amongst themselves some more. "Since she's been so polite to us and is so beautiful, what gifts should we grant her?" "I'll make her even more beautiful than she is. This is my gift," one of the little men said. Each time she speaks, golden coins will fall out from her mouth. That will be my gift, said another one of the little men. I'll arrange her a king who will come and take her for his wife, the third little man said. When the maiden came back to them and said thank you again, they bestowed their gifts on her, and when she wanted to thank them more, golden coins fell out of her mouth. Then she went home. The stepmother was all astonishment at the strawberries that she had collected, and was even more astonished when she saw the coins that fell from the girl's mouth. Shortly thereafter, a king came, took the maiden with him, and made her his wife. Now the mother thought about how she might arrange matters so her own daughter would receive the same great fortune. So she sewed her a splendid fur coat and told her to go into the forest and ask the little men for a gift. But the men saw that she had a wicked heart, and instead of giving her good gifts, they gave her bad ones. The first wished that she would freeze in her fur coat as if it were made of paper. The second wished that she would grow plainer with each passing day. The third wished that she would die a miserable death. The girl returned home shivering, like her fur coat had been made of paper, and she told her mother what she had encountered. And when her mother saw that the curses of the three men were starting to take effect, she could think only of revenge. So she went to her stepdaughter, who was now the queen, and pretended to be friendly and charming. Consequently, she was welcomed and given her own rooms in the palace. Shortly thereafter, the queen gave birth to a prince, and one night, when she was alone and sick and weak, the wicked stepmother lifted her out of the bed with the help of her daughter, and they carried the queen outside to a river and threw her into it. The next morning, they told the king that the queen had died during the night. The following night, the kitchen boy saw a duck swimming through the drain into the kitchen, and it asked, "Are all my guests now sound asleep?" Then the kitchen boy replied, "Yes, indeed, you can't hear a peep." "How about that baby of mine?" "He's asleep and doing just fine." Then the duck transformed into the shape of the queen, went upstairs, suckled and nursed the baby, plumped up his little bed, covered him, and returned to the drain, where she swam away as a duck once more. This happened the next night too, and on the third night she said to the kitchen boy, "Go and tell the king to take his sword and swing it 3 times over my head on the threshold." The kitchen boy ran and told the king, and when he swung the sword 3 times, his wife appeared before him alive and well. The wicked scheme of the stepmother and her daughter was now clear as day, and they were cast into the forest, and very soon devoured by wild animals.